3FM 92.7. The government of the Republic of Ghana, led by President John Dramani Mahama, unable to meet GES of a food supply to schools. We know that there's been a deployment of food to the schools. As we speak, over 900 schools. They get over 130,000 bags of rice to the schools. But this is just for 1 month. After the month ends, what happens? It's a key concern. We'll engage with key stakeholders in the education industry or the sector. Dr. Clement Abasinaba Park, a former deputy ranking member of the Parliament's Education Committee, the 8th Parliament. Visitor Safwa used to speak for the education minister until he found favor in the eyes of the people of Otaf and became their MP. Dr. Peter Patti Enti is executive director of IFS Ghana. Charles Aheto Chiga is the technical advisor at GENEC and also former director general of the Ghana Education Service. Hopefully we get to speak to Bright Appear as well. Bright Appear is the man who says, well, I disagree with Charles asking for food to be sent to the schools by parents. Eventually, for the vanishing, the government says no. For the vanishing, the government says no.
But really, I don't know why he's disagreeing. No, there's no other option.
No, now government has found the food to give to the children.
Yes, but after the 2 months, what happens?
You have to find the food.
From where?
From where you found the first one.
Oh. Let's not do this.
So
this is supposed to be a stopgap.
Let's listen to the man and then understand why he's disagreeing with.
We will listen to him.
So that we can ask him the question you're asking.
We will
because
listen to
there
him.
are those who also believe that, look, parents should support halfway.
It's the argument we have made from day one.
But
it's free SHS, but obviously the government is struggling to pay, to finance free SHS.
Ken Ofriata said it is people say, hey, my friend, shut up, keep quiet. Shut up. That's where we are now.
The best in the morning is on 92.7 Sunrise on 3FM.
3FM Sunrise.
I don't think it's something that any of us can compromise on, and true, it may be that there have to be changes in the way in which we are administering it. I can't take my child to Achimota or Dogono and then leave him or her and drive away and kind of not pay anything, whilst I can pay for 10 people. We need
so why did you implement it then?
We need to question, you need to begin to get the data to then be discriminatory in how and who pays and who doesn't pay.
But you could have done that before, Ken.
I'm not sure that we have.
With the free SHS and then now you're saying, okay, 90,000 have come on board. But there are a lot of people who have benefited who could have paid.
Yeah.
So why didn't you get the data before you started the policy? Now we're told we're going to have a multiple stream
You're
of admission.
You're actually going to have maybe 180,000 more people.
Yeah.
But Bernard, you know that, each soul is important. You'd rather make that mistake to get, if it is a mistake, to get everybody in the system, for the nation to then begin to have a conversation and say, okay, this is good for us because we want our human capital to a certain level.
Ken Ofriata. This is where the matter is. The one says, look, I remember he said it. And before you knew it, the people said, no, shut up.
Yes, because we've always played the ostrich with a problem. We've always thought that it's an NPP thing, so MPP should deal with it,
right.
And MPP should be the one taking all the glory. We don't want to take ideas from anyone, and that is what has brought us to where we are. Because they are real problems.
Right.
Real problems. If you have a ward...
Not small boy problems.
No. It's not small boys. That is why also on hindsight, you need somebody who can deal with the challenges at the education sector. Okay. So I think that this 2-month deal is just a stopgap. It's not something that we should stop and celebrate.
Right.
It's something that should give us a breather to ask ourselves, where do we go from here? How do we resolve this permanently? And if asking parents to help is the way to go, at least in the immediate term, let's do that. But we cannot continue lying to parents, telling parents that, oh, don't worry, your wards are fine. There's nothing. Government is absorbing all costs. There are no problems at all. Meanwhile, the wards, day in, day out, are calling their parents and guardians for money, for feeding. It's not fair. It's simply not fair to the kids in the school.
Right.
Some are starving. They are starving seriously. When we raised this issue, they quickly organized some media showing at Presec.
Right.
Then Deputy Education Minister, the Reverend, he went there. Cameras followed him. Said, but the food is here. What are you people talking about?
Know, I asked somebody who made that argument. I said, Chairman, you sat with the children and then you pretended to be eating the food they were eating. As soon as the cameras were off, you left the food. Somebody took a photo of you. Then I showed the photo to the person that the old students were there. When as soon as the cameras moved, you left the food.
You left.
And I showed him the photo. He said, "Oh,
I went to Presec with the PRO to the Education Ministry. When
Kwesi
he's a spokesperson.
He's a spokesperson
To the minister.
The PRO is the
Cassandra.
lady Cassandra.
True.
So when
You see, he's also making the same mistake.
Because if the thing has been ingrained into your mind for 8 years, what else is there for you to?
that day the Presec students were eating rice and beans, and then what they were saying was that the food was good. So we actually ate some of the rice and beans. The quantity was good. The quality of the food was regular of senior high school. But then Presec is a big school. Presec is not a small school. So you don't expect the quality of food that Presecans eat to be the same as that which students in my village eat. You know, the kind of students who go
Why do you want to mention Ulosek?
I want to mention what?
You want to mention Ulosek?
Ulosek Tech. No, but that's...
It's not a sectech. It's a senior high school.
Right. But that's the situation, you know. The picture was painted as though there was no problem. It is very clear that there are deep-rooted problems that right now the roots have gone into...
Okay, guys, let me cut in and speak to Bright Appear of Child Rights International. He's joining us on the phone line now. Bright, good morning. Thank you for your time.
Hello, good morning.
Great. Bright, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Johnny. How are you?
I'm greater than Accra.
Thank you.
Great.
I'm a fire officer, but I will not mention my name.
Okay.
I saw you speaking at the tele. You know what our chief officers have been doing? We did for promotion. And we went and write a promotion. They haven't picked none of us. Johnny.
Yes,
they
I'm
haven't picked
listening
none
to you.
of us. They went and took outside people and collected money from them. We are in our rank for 5 good years, Johnny. In fact, we plead for you. Try and help us.
Okay, I hear you.
Because most of them are the top, from the top to down. All of them are MPP. All of them are MPP, Johnny.
Okay, I hear you.
Why are we suffering the service? 25 years.
We will look
5
into
years in our rank.
We will look into this matter for you. Thank you very much.
Johnny?
Yes, sir.
So I can really beg you.
Okay.
Can really beg you, okay?
Okay, I hear you. Thank
To
you very
do
much.
justice for us.
Okay, thank you so
Our
much.
big men are disappointed. They disappointed us.
Your point is made. Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
Thank you, Johnny.
Great. And just apologies, this is not Bright Appear of Child Rights International. This is a fire service officer who is clearly not happy about the going issues. Sometimes these things happen. Yeah, you know, people find our platform so credible and worthy that when they have issues, they have to come to us. And it speaks volumes of the work that we do here. But apologies to you if you were expecting the voice of Bright Appear. We'll raise Bright Appear on the phone line in a bit.
The best in the morning is on 92.7 Sunrise.
Jennifer Gomash is Member of Parliament for Ketu South. The creative as expected, and with a decade of experience in advocacy and youth leadership, she's also going there, right straight there. Phone line, look at government's meeting with the GES over food supply to schools. A man who has previously headed the Ghana Education Service as Director General is also a technical advisor to GENEC. Joining us on the phone line now. Togbiga Charles Aheto Chega is joining us. Good morning, sir. Thank you for your time.
Good morning.
Good to hear from you, sir.
Yeah, good to hear from you too.
Great. Let's begin this conversation about free SHS. I'm sure that you had a whimper of the meeting that the government had with GES. What can you share with us as initial comments?
Repeat that, you got lost in the choir. You said what?
I'm saying that the free education conversation is back on the table. We know that the government has met GES. If you have a whimper of it, kindly share what you know as initial comments, sir.
Unfortunately, I don't have a whimper of it. I don't know the details of the discussion, but I believe that it is in the best interest of all the country and the citizens.
Food supply in our secondary schools. When did it become a challenge, really?
Well, food supply has always been a challenge in our secondary schools. Historically, those who have been following, especially at the secondary level. Even when heads of schools were in the leadership position in terms of the distribution of food, they had issues. And at the point, we had to deal with some of them. And the government intervened with programs that would make it easy for them to access some of the food items that we would need to be able to feed the children. So it has always been a problem.
I see. Let me welcome Dr. Peter Patti Ante of IFS Ghana. Doc, thank you for your time. Good morning. Hello, Doc. Good morning. Hello, Doc. Good morning.
Good morning, Johnny.
Your line is breaking. You will have to kindly reposition yourself so we can hear you. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's still breaking. You would have to... Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. I'll ask you as well. We saw the government take some food, in fact, rice to be specific, to some secondary schools. The distribution started in Accra yesterday. Over 900 schools are built to be enjoying from that facility, but it's only for 1 month. After the month, what happens?
Interesting. Good morning once again to your listeners and viewers. I think after the 1 month, there will definitely be a minister at post, and we will benefit from his direction. I think that is what I can say for now. The government is yet to lay down its strategy for handling the free senior high school during his administration. I think that they have hinted on certain kinds of consultations that they would want to do to enable them have a broad overview of how to proceed with the policy going into the near future. So I'm thinking that this is a stop in the gap measure, because this is even being coordinated by the chief of staff, because we don't have a substantive minister. So now that we have a minister nominated for the sector, I'm thinking that by the time that the 1 month is over, the minister would charge and would have laid down the processes going into the next 4 years and the future direction of the free senior high school.
Mr. Chega, let me ask you, are you comfortable with the approach that government now has to send this emergency relief to the schools? And is it sustainable, for example, in your books?
Well, I think I'm comfortable with that approach because for now that is one of the best in the package. Because the headmasters are in a fix, and I like the other dimension where there is a proposal to send cash to them to be able to lead the process in terms of buying the other things. Before this crisis began, I had opportunity to talk with most heads or some heads, and the issue had to do more with not the absence of foodstuffs, but money to be able to buy the accompanying ingredients to prepare
the accompanying stews and sugar and all of those things that go with feeding. So while the government is providing the rice, I hope that the funds for providing the other condiments for preparing the meal will be provided to bring this kind of situation to a halt.
See, now in terms of these buying, we know that the procurement had always been centralized in the last few years, as opposed to what used to be the case where the bezzers and the headmasters and headmistresses were the ones who were going to procure these things. Should we decentralize them now, or should we keep a centralized system where one man has oversight over all? What do you say?
We should decentralize them. The schools are very unique in their situations. And for somebody who sits in Accra and decides what food to give to the people in Tamale, and also decide to give to the people in the Volta region, it would be very better.
On 3FM, best in
a
the
lot
morning.
of their peculiar demands and desires and appetites will not be catered for in that respect. So it is a good thing to allow the heads to procure and then ensure that they have prepared proper menus that would enable our children to be properly fed along the line.
I see. Doc, let me bring you in. The much talked about conversation regarding the review of this whole free SHS initiative and policy. How soon should we do it? Because it looks like this is one of the problems that a review could possibly solve.
Well, I think it should be as early as possible. I think it should be the first item on the minister's table. Anyway, let me say hi to my senior, Mr. Tega. It's been a long time I saw him. Yes, so I think it should be one of the first things on the minister's table. What I understand is that the government is planning to widen the conversation so that it will not be one item kind of consultative assembly that they will do. They want to include all other sectors of the education system. If that is the case, then it means that we're going to have a broad review of various subsectors within the education sector. So we will have conversations about the basic school, senior high school, TVET, tertiary institutions, and other things. But because of the crucial nature of the free senior high school and the things that comes with it, I think the immediate thing to do would be to maybe set up an in-house committee to have a clearer understanding. I'm referring to the minister because definitely he will be the one in charge. Have a clearer understanding of how the free senior high school have been implemented so far, so that he will be able to move in quickly to avert some of the challenges that the policy is going through. So first and foremost, the NDC has decided that they will do a more centralized kind of food distribution, as you mentioned. I think that is something that they can do in the immediate term. They can rearrange the model of distribution of foodstuffs and ensure that they decentralize it. I think that one technically would not need that kind of consultative assembly. Maybe what they would have to now look for is how to fund the policy, that is the sustainability aspect. That one you need to do a lot of consultations and get a lot of minds to be able to know clearly where you are going forward with, especially when it comes to funding this policy. But for the decentralization, I think that is something that the minister can do within the shortest possible time when it is approved. Again, another challenge, which is the double track that they have mentioned, would also require that they improve on infrastructure. That is also finance. So it will also take a little time for them to deal with that particular policy. So, in my mind, the immediate thing that they can do is the food distribution, which is also one of the critical areas that is causing problems in the schools. So if they are able to remodel the food distribution process, they can take their time to now touch on the other aspects and possibly they will be able to review it in line with their manifesto and then in tune with what Ghanaians are expecting them to also do.
I see. Mr. Chega, let me bring you in. What form should this review take of the Free SHS initiative? At least we have experimented with it over time, but what form should a review take?
the review has, right from the beginning, not actually taken people's views and ideas about how to prosecute this GES agenda. So it has really created a lot of gaps in terms of what should really be done. Already some of us have questioned that if the government said he was introducing free education, what exactly, what dimension or aspect of the system is he delivering in terms of the free component? Because there were certain things that were already free in the system. So there is a need for people to come together. And I think that if they had started the whole policy implementation by engaging interested parties and stakeholders, they would have realized that the system already has certain free components. Now, what do we define as free? How are we going to deliver that free? So for now, in resetting, we need to take the opportunity to go back to the people of Ghana.
Right.
I have conceived in my mind that it's going to be a series of community town hall discussions and all of that, in which maybe the panel or the team that is working from region to region will put together the people's ideas, and then the bigger team will now compile all of that into a very good report that the government can look at and begin to take action. So for me, that's how I think that it should go. And I believe that when people realize that now they have opportunity to say what they want to say and have actually said it, they can now proceed to be supporting a system that they have all participated in shaping.
I see. Let's look at the, Doc, I come to you. Let's look at the minister designate for the ministry. Haruna Idrisu, businessman, lawyer, politician, has been a leader in parliament, has been at the trade ministry, been at the labor and employment ministry. Now he's going to the education ministry. Will he find favor in the eyes of the key players within the sector?
Yeah, Johnny, before I answer that, I want to make a quick point.
Right.
I understand that it is important that the NDC follow through with their manifesto promise of resetting, reviewing the sitting high school. But I have to caution them that they should be very careful and strategic with how they go about the review process, because they have 4 years. And if they are not careful, certain things will come back and haunt them in 2028. I think I've written extensively on this, and those who care, they might want to read and see the direction that we're going. Because a lot of things have been said about the party towards the free senior school when we were getting to the elections. Any attempt to alter the policy which would serve as a vindication of what was said about them would cost them dearly in 2028. They need to be strategic, and they need to be careful how they go about this going into the new year. I know people will tell you that we want to pay,
right.
But they need to be very careful if they really want to continue in government after 2028. Let me come back to the Honorable Minister. I think that it comes to the job with a lot of experience in terms of labor relations. Somebody who's headed the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations for some time would have that kind of experience in dealing with labor agitations and labor problems in the sector. And you agree with me that our sector is a sector that is always having issues with labor agitations. As currently we're talking, CITAG is on strike.
Right.
It wouldn't be surprising to see other unions going on strike right after the minister steps in. So he comes in with that kind of experience in how to handle the labor front, and which I think is a plus for him. I also think that it comes to the job with experience from industry and trade. One of the challenges that we have had and we continue to say in this country is that there is a kind of discrepancy between our educational system and then how people transition into industry. With this understanding of how industry works and now moving into the education, I think that he will be in the best position to find a perfect linkage between industry. Develop policies to find a perfect linkage between industry and the education sector, especially when you're talking about the technical university. And I think that is also a skill that he possesses that, if put to use, would help deal with the issue of people graduating and not getting employment, people doing courses that are not relevant to industry and other things. I think that is also another skill that it comes with. Again, it comes in with a lot of experience in terms of legislation, leadership qualities, and everybody knows on a while. So I think that with his leadership, heading the ministry, giving policy direction, and then overseeing all the activities in the ministry, I think that he stands a great chance to succeed. But I dare say that he needs to listen more. He needs to improve on his relations with the stakeholders in the sector. He needs to avert his mind to the various challenges that and then the mistakes that the former administration made, and ensure that those things are corrected and not repeated. I think if he's able to do all these things, he's going to be one of the best ministers that we have had in the industry. I don't doubt his competence, but mostly people get into the ministry and then they are fed with all sort of information. I know he's a politically astute person, and as a politician, he will know how to maneuver his way with all those things, information that will be coming in, and how to sift through and see behind the activities of people that he is going to interact with. It's a very complex ministry, but I think that he has a complex mind and he's a strategic person. And possibly, I pray he succeeds.
Mr. Chigan, I'll ask you the same question. The man Haruna Idrisu, is he the best pair of hands for the Ministry of Education at this time?
Well, just as my brother said, he comes in with experience. And the experience are so varied and really connected to what the education sector is all made of. But I would think that he must begin to look at the system again. Now we are talking about resetting. What aspects or which areas of the education sector do you want to reset? And as a legal person, I think he would first take a look at the whole act, that is running the education system, and begin to look at areas where it can be reset in relation to what the Constitution says, and the role of some of the public service institutions that work directly with education. So for me, I hope that he's able to put that and create the order and the framework within which the whole of the education sector can operate. Peter has already mentioned the issues with labor. That probably will be his biggest landmine, and he will have to tread cautiously around the labor issues.
Right.
And then the other thing are some of the very critical issues that affects education at the pre-tertiary level. And here we are talking about issues around curriculum and the whole teaching and learning situation, which has to be reset to ensure that we have now a system that ensures a proper balance in how we can develop the curriculum. We can get teachers to be present and active in schools. We can get parents and students to be in concert and take advantage of the opportunities that are being created to get them to really have quality education. So, and maybe I would say that education is a very technical area, as Peter has said, and the technical issues is about the fact that there are a lot of very deep technicalities in terms of dealing with the beneficiaries. And it is important that those are taken care of and really looked at before specific decisions are taken to ensure that the certain level of harmony is maintained within the sector to get it succeed in the things that it has to do.
Mr. Chika, let me ask you, who is better placed to partner Lawyer Haruna Idrisu at the ministry as Deputy Minister?
Well,
Peter, why are you laughing?
At this particular point, you raised the issue.
Right.
When it comes to appointing ministers, the rule is not to particularly appoint somebody who has a technical competence in the sector. Ministers are oversight people with other experiences related to the sector, but not particularly within the sector. So they come in with other ideas to support and build that sector. So for me, I think that if the president would take my advice, I would say that to get a deputy minister, you may have to get somebody who has a little experience within the education sector to be able to create and help him, even as they meet as minister and deputy, to be able to take some decisions that are in the interest of the system based on his partner's experience of the whole system, going forward. So that is what I'll look. I think I'll look. They can reduce the number of deputies, but and work within the whole minister deputy, and then divide the tasks in such a way that the minister will still be looking at the oversight issues, while the deputy combines a number of things, and then he works properly with the ministry. I mean, I think that he must probably avoid this situation where the idea is that you want to project the ministry, when in fact there are other public service agencies that would be doing a lot of the work. They should not attempt to try and literally hijack people's way of doing things and people's set roles. But he should play the really convening role of ensuring that all the people who are working within the sector are working and producing the kind of results that he wants to see, without particularly going into the field and digging into the gutter and going to a classroom to go and teach and all of those things. They are fine, but he should provide space for others who are being paid to do the work in the way it has to be.
I see.
Of the children.
Doc, let me come to you with the same question. Who do you have in mind to partner lawyer Haruna Idrisu?
I think I agree perfectly with Monsignor Batega. You need somebody who is a sector person. There's no two ways. I'm clear in my mind that you need somebody who understands the sector. You know, the minister comes in with a lot of experience in most other areas, but he's not a sector person. So you need somebody who will partner him, who is a sector person, who understands the sector, who has studied the sector, and would provide first-hand information to the minister before the minister even reverts to the other, agency heads and directors within the ministry. It's very, very important, because if you are not careful and the two of you are all not sector persons, it means that you are going to rely solely on on information coming from your agency heads and other directors within the ministry. But when you have a sector person who has also studied the sector and understands the issues within the sector, it becomes a little bit easier for you to go on with your ideas and then transform the ministry. So I would just go in for somebody who has worked within the sector, who understands the sector, understands the pressing issues in the sector, and more important, somebody who even worked with the manifesto committee. It is also important because that person also knows the rationale, the reasoning behind all the promises that have been made by the NDC to the people of Ghana in the education sector. So you need somebody who understands, because I don't think that the Honorable was part of the manifesto committee. So you need somebody who understands the promises, the rationale behind the promises, and somebody who also understands the education sector to partner the minister. And I know that the experience of the president, this is not something that is beyond his ability to do.
I see. Mr. Jega, in wrapping up, if I give you 30 seconds to tell lawyer Haruna Idrisu something before he gets to the ministry, what would that be?
Well, I'll tell him that he should tread cautiously. He should listen more. He should really be very collaborative in terms of getting around his work. Education is a very, I wouldn't say very relaxed, but they work within a certain relaxed environment, largely because of the kind of people we serve. So he must build a certain relationship that is highly positive and allows him to go in and out between the various agencies with an ease that will equip him with a lot of ideas for him to take and ensure that any thoughts that he have is bounce off the people in the section or department that he wants to take a particular decision on, so that they can be reflected on and do things. And I think that I would say that the labor management issues is also very important.
Right.
And so he has to find a way of building a certain kind of rapport with the labor unions and the teacher unions and address some of the challenges that are coming. If there are issues, teachers are very willing to hear that there's a problem. So a particular thing that they want cannot be delivered at a certain point in time. They will give you the time. Yours is just to deliver it at the time that you said you will. And then there will be a lot of peace and order and tranquility within the sector, and that will benefit the children of Ghana.
Mr. Aizo, thank you very much indeed for your time. As a former Director General of the Ghana Education Service, we're grateful that you spent your money with us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Doc, you have the closing thoughts. What would you say to Haruna Idrisu?
Yeah, so I would emphasize he should listen more. He should listen more. He should improve on his relations with the people in the sector. And more importantly, Johnny, I think that he should not see those of us who write and criticize and offer solutions to or pinpoint the challenges in the sector as the enemies.
Right.
The enemies might be those who would continuously praise you and would want to always think your team. Those who would pinpoint challenges in the sector are those who want the system to work. And I think that those are the people that he should draw closer to himself and ensure that the education sector is moved to a level that we all desire to be. Education is for all of us. We have a stake in it. And therefore, the very moment he's able to make an impact in the education sector, he's making an impact in every single individual household in this country. He should put this at the back of his mind.
Thank you very much, Dr. Peter Patti, Auntie of iFest Ghana. We're grateful that you spent your money with us. Thank you so much indeed. And it brings us to 9 minutes after 9 on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. We're still looking at the education ministry. We'll take a look at some of the other ministries. Hopefully we'll be joined by Professor Kobe Mensah, who will tell us what he thinks from a political marketing perspective about the appointments that have been made so far. A lot of youngsters in there. What are they bringing to the table? It's a good question to ask, isn't it?